Hi, Simon Nixon here again with another quick tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how and why we use a clay bar. A clay bar is a man-made polymer substance, a bit like plasticine really. We use this to decontaminate the surface of a car. Normal washing and polishing doesn't remove all the contamination that's on the surface of your paint. If you run your hand over your paintwork, even after a thorough clean and wash, you will quite often feel it rough in some severe cases depending on where you live, and I'll explain that in a moment. It may actually feel like sandpaper, it can be that bad. If you regularly drive or live near a railway station, railway tracks, you will quite often find that your paint is contaminated with what we call rail dust. There are also many other contaminants and pollutants in the air, and the only way to remove this is with a clay bar. The product we're going to be using today is yet another Autoglym product. I do swear by these products. These guys are brilliant at what they do. It comes as a kit. You get a small tin with the clay bar in it. You get some lubricant, which you must use. Otherwise you can scratch the paintwork if you don't use a lubricant. The first thing we need to do is, what I normally do, is start with the roof of the car and work down and around the car. With a large panel such as the roof or the bonnet, the easiest way to do it really is to divide it into areas. It's also important to mention that clay barring your car should only be carried out once you've thoroughly cleaned your car, just in case there are any loose particles of dirt on the car which could scratch the paintwork. Take a small piece of the clay and knead it in your hand until it's nice and soft. On a cold day you might find it a bit hard to do this. What you can do is put it into a bucket of warm water, which will help soften the clay. Once you've got it nice and pliable, flatten it out across your fingers and apply plenty of lubricant to the clay and to the paintwork, and start gentle strokes backwards and forwards on the paintwork. In some cases you will feel it grab particles off of the paintwork, especially if it's severely contaminated. Once it starts to feel silky smooth, you can then move on to another section of the car after having thoroughly wiped off the lubricant with the microfibre cloth that also comes in the kit. Once you've clay barred one section, take a look at the face of the clay. If it's looking quite dirty, then give it a fold and knead it a bit and make it nice and soft again, and expose a nice clean face on the clay. If it's becoming difficult to find a clean face on the clay bar, you must throw the piece away and get a new piece. Otherwise you're just rubbing the contaminants back over the surface of the car. Once you've completed the clay bar process, your paint should now feel nice and silky smooth, and it's ready for a good coat of Autoglym Super Resin polish. A clay bar treatment twice a year is more than adequate for most cars, although you may like to repeat the procedure more often if, for instance, you live in a built up or industrial area or close to a railway station or line. You can find all the information from my tutorials and much more in my book, Caring for Your Car's Bodywork and Interior. My book is part of the RAC handbook series. If you click on the link below, you can find some information on the rest of the series and my book. It's very reasonably priced. Go take a look.